Chapter 1. Other boys took their shotguns out alone. Why couldn't he? Seth stared at the glass doors of the gun case, trying to see beyond his lean, straw-haired reflection, which looked back, challenging him, accusing him of being a coward. "Come on, open it," Matt said, leaning against the back of the couch in his gray sweats. He passed a football back and forth between his hands, fingernails chewed short. "It's no big deal." Seth's lungs felt compressed, his hands sweaty. Except for the grandfather clock tick-ticking in the corner, the pine-board living room was quiet, heavy with his father's disapproval. "Easy for you to say," he said, rolling the small brass key between his fingers. "Your dad's not a game warden." If Seth were like half the other kids in the county, he'd probably take his shotgun into the woods whenever he felt like it. He wouldn't worry about it. Instead, he was expected to obey the law and wait 2 more long years before he could take his shotgun out alone, without his dad. It wasn't fair. It was like setting a big bone between a dog's paws and only letting the dog drool on it. Why did Dad even bother giving him a shotgun last month when he turned 12 if Seth could never use it? Seth had done his part. He'd completed firearm safety training and was ready to go. But now Dad was always too busy. Did he think Seth could wait forever? Did he even care? Seth drew in a deep breath. Slowly, he inserted the key, turned it, and opened the cabinet doors. He pulled out his shotgun and ran his hand along the smooth, polished walnut. It felt good in his grip. Weighty. Solid. He turned to Matt, who gave the football a spin between his hands and smiled. Without a word, the boys grabbed their jackets and headed out the back door. In the chill autumn air, Seth and Matt kicked wormy crab apples as they passed the faded red barn, then hiked beyond the pasture into the woods. With his gun carefully angled toward the ground, Seth felt part of something great, like an ancient ritual, a test of his strength and bravery. Crunching over decaying leaves of aspen, birch, and maple, the boys scanned the moss-covered forest floor as they followed a trail that wound around jagged rock outcroppings, wild rice lakes, and stands of Norway pine. A mile from home, Seth spotted huge tracks. He squatted and touched the deep depressions, long and cleft-shaped. He'd never seen moose tracks so close to home before. A small set crisscrossed a larger set. Seth looked up to see Matt, in his new green and gold jacket, already yards ahead. He'd follow the tracks with his horse tomorrow, alone. He hurried to catch up. They neared the towering white pine, a majestic tree spared from early logging days. Once, after they tried to measure the tree's girth and found it wider than 2 boys could wrap their arms around, they named it after the strongest of Greek heroes, Hercules. As they walked beneath the tree's massive spreading branches, Seth spotted something moving in the underbrush. It stopped abruptly. A rabbit. The boys froze. Except for white flecks of hair on its face, the rabbit's coat was brown, blending perfectly with the fallen leaves. Only its nose moved, twitching. Seth pulled off his right glove, slid his finger behind the trigger, and lined up his sight with the rabbit. He eased his shaky finger back on the cool steel. The rabbit didn't budge. Seth waited. He wanted to make it fair. A twig snapped. The rabbit leaped. Squeezing the trigger, Seth felt the powerful kick of the shotgun against his shoulder. The rabbit spun in the air and let out a high-pitched scream, a penetrating scream, like that of a young child in pain. Seth stared. His stomach felt knotted, his throat tight. The rabbit flopped against the ground, its legs moving spastically. This wasn't like the time he'd gone partridge hunting with Dad, where birdshot exploded into a quiet puff of feathers. In a few seconds, the rabbit lay still. Seth held the gun toward the ground, but didn't move. Matt elbowed him in the side. "Hey, you're not done yet." "I know," Seth said quietly. From his jacket pocket, Seth pulled out his red Swiss Army knife and flipped open the silver blade. He knelt over the rabbit. Its dark eyes stared out into nothing. He grasped one of the rabbit's front paws, still warm, and quickly dropped it. The woods grew darker. He picked up the limp rabbit by its foreleg, carried it to a flat rock, and stretched its paw over the stone.